I blew the bar tip. You can see it's hot right there. So I bought these bar tips, they're cheaper. I don't think they last, so I gotta take the bar off and put another bar on. So keep enough stuff in here so I can. Jeez, it's cold, it's so damn windy. The wind is cranking. Here's the spare bar. We're gonna use this size. Gotta clean this shit out first. That's where the grease goes in for figures. I can't get the bars. The automatic tensioners, probably the oil's so cold in there that I can't get it to retract, so I can pull the bar in enough to stick something in to hold it up so I can get another chain back on. You've got to keep the bar held in enough. Well, it's just easier. There's a little hole, so you pull that chain and it sucks the bar in, and then you stick something in the hole. So whether you're changing a chain or the bar, when you go to put the chain back on, you can just roll it on, pull the chain back, take the screwdriver or whatever you put in the hole out, and then let it go back out. So it's a pain in the butt if you don't do that, especially doing the bar. So, but I should have done this last night, but he didn't have the road plowed out, so I couldn't drive up in here. It was like a mile walk, so I wasn't gonna come back in. So, doing it now. I'll loosen it up a little bit. Normally, if I throw a chain and there's no chain on the bar, okay, what I ended up doing here was shutting the video off. It really was friggin' cold, so I wasn't sure if the GoPro was going to get too cold. I haven't owned one before this one, and what I ended up doing was, and I think I explained it a little bit in the next clip, but I ended up shutting the machine off, which turns the computer off that runs the head, so that when I started again, the bar, and I could arm the hydraulics so that I could use, you know, the boom and the head and stuff. But anyways, when you shut that off, if the computer isn't on, the saw won't work. So that way I could leave the saw out and not have the chain spin. So I took and brought it over the edge of the tracks and tilted the head into the tracks enough to push the bar and automatic tensioner in, and that allowed it all to loosen up enough where I could get the chain off and undo the bolts that hold the bar on. And so I got it back going and then started processing and cutting wood. So anyways, I just wanted to explain that first rather than wondering why the clip stopped. Well, we're back in business. I got the bar on. I shut the GoPro off just because it was so friggin' cold. I I had to turn the harvester off so the computer would shut off so that the bar wouldn't spin, and then push the bar against the track to get it to retract. So, and now we're trying to, as you can see, it's really brushy here. So I mean, there's a lot of beach, a lot of poor quality beach. This land up north here doesn't grow wood very fast, and the beach isn't very good quality. They cut it about 12 years ago, and this is what's left. It's not really bad processor wood, but there's quite a bit of undergrowth, and undergrowth isn't really that bad as long as the wood is consistent enough, because in this type of wood and with all the saplings, I kind of need the brush to go in front of me to keep I can use it to kind of keep the brush down, keep it out of my way. You'll see as I go along here, to get to trees to process, that I'm using the head to grab and break the saplings off to get them out of my way, because you can't just bull through it. It'll get caught in the head, and it's just a good way to rip hoses off and wiring and stuff like that. So, and this friggin' beach, the limbs are like barbed wire. It's like they go everywhere. It's like soft maple, you know, the limbs are kind of straight and it's not a real big deal, but I think it's good. The beach limb's good. And in the earlier part of my video when I was changing the bar, it is so friggin' cold today. The wind chill, it's only like, I don't know, 0, maybe 5 degrees Fahrenheit, but the wind is whipping. I bet it's 35, 40 below wind chill. I think they were saying last night on the news that it's going to be somewhere around 35 below wind chill factor, so it's not actually the temperature. But I was just standing out changing this bar, and my face hurt. So I know the wind is cold. But you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. You got to get this little bit of brush out of the way, and not really any good example here, but it kind of will hold everything down. So it's really when you gotta, if there's not enough wood, there's just not with this type of underbrush, you can't go through and do what I'm doing all the time. You won't get anything done. And this is kind of a product of the last cut they did here. And like most guys, I do the same thing, but I don't know how many contractors actually think about who's coming next, you know. And so if they had just left a little more wood, or, you know, it kind of seems like they probably cut most of the soft maple, rock maple, and popple that was a little better cutting, and they left a lot of this beech, which really doesn't do anything. I mean, it doesn't recover, and it gets that beech disease. And the other thing too is, this is pretty much 90% hardwood pulp, and sappy. The mill that it goes to just put a new wood room in, and a new debarker, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And apparently they haven't really got all the bugs worked out of it. And because I think the minimum diameter for pulp used to be like 3 inches, basically the size of a Coke can or something, and I guess in the debarker they're getting a lot of waste, and I guess that small wood breaks up and it falls out of the drum, and it ends up, they use all that waste for biomass. They burn it for electricity. So with that small wood breaking up, it costs them a lot of money because biomass doesn't really pay. And the problem is that, as you can see, a lot of this wood, like that stick there, I just processed. That might be 4 inches. And even when it was a 3-inch diameter, we always used to push it. You have to, especially with a processor, and we don't chip. So, I can't just go through this piece and not process this stuff. It's not efficient, it's not cost effective. You can't do it. And there's not enough volume in bigger wood here for me to get the production somewhere else. So, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'll try to keep it, the diameter up a little bit, because you don't want to attract unnecessary attention. Once they know your truck is pushing something, whether it's small diameter or whatever it is, then they're looking for it. So a lot of it comes up to the truck driver, and we have center mounts, so they load themselves. So it's up to them not to put a bunch of small wood on the outsides of the truck where it's gonna raise attention. And so, some truck drivers get it, and some will tell you, yep, we got it, yep. And then do the opposite and put a bunch of small wood on the scale shack side, and then, they're complaining and telling you they're gonna reject the wood, which a lot of times you already have a bunch of wood piled up, and you can't pick through this stuff. You either gotta do it one way or the other. So our truck driver here is pretty good, so I'm not too worried about it. So, but we'll see what happens. These big nasty beach tops. I'm dragging this down here, get it out of the way. And a lot of times you use these tops to kind of shim. Like if you got a hole in the trail, you can level it out, or whatever. So, and this isn't very good wood. Typically, we like to be cutting something a little more meat, but in the same sense, it's easy on the head. It's all hardwood pulp, so you don't have any sorts. We'll cut hardwood logs if there is any, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot so far. So in the same sense, if you can do the production, or if I can, that to keep the forwarder busy, it's fine, because it's all hardwood pulp. So which adds up quicker than anything else. So I wish should be fine. I may have to work more here a little bit, but more than I want to, but the snow's not too deep, which I don't know. I've been having, like that bar I replaced, I've been having troubles with tips, and I have this grease system that came on this machine instead of bar and chain oil, which I like because it doesn't take as much. It's more inexpensive to run. You save money, but it seems to be, in this cold weather, it does not grease the bar like it should first thing in the morning, I think. So I haven't quite figured that out. I put this spare bar on, and what I did is I took my grease gun and ran grease down the center of the bar where the chain drivers go, so that when I first started running it this morning, it would get a little lubrication, and maybe that won't wear out the bearings and the tip so much. So we'll see how that goes. So well, I guess the bulldozer's up here now. So today's Friday. I'll probably only end up, we usually work till about noon or so on Friday, and because you just don't have enough time, or I don't have enough time to do everything I want to during the week. So the forwarder couldn't get moved until Monday, which is okay. It'll give me enough time to, you know, I'll probably come, I don't know if I'll work Sunday, but I'll come up tomorrow and process. And like I said, there's no long yarding here either, which is nice. They did, whenever they built the road in here, they built it right up through the middle of the piece. So for a 100-acre piece, normally you would get some long yarding, and luckily here, I don't think there'll be any yarding over 1,500 feet. So that's good. That should help, as long as I stay ahead. And the only thing here is we're not close to home, and it's always friggin' a hassle, because, you know, my service trailer is on the other job, and I'm trying to get going here, and blah blah blah. So, but it's nice to get on a little bigger job. So, and it's pretty straightforward. We're doing an overstory, which is basically an overstory is cutting all the pretty much merchantable timber and trying to protect all the regen. So which basically means that there's enough non-merchantable or non-marketable wood in here that we can cut all the merchantable wood and it won't be a clear cut. In Maine, there is clear cut laws, and they're a lot more strict to big landowners. In Maine, if you own under 100 acres, you can clear cut all 99 acres. If you own over 100 acres, you have to adhere to the clear cut laws. So you'd have to have buffers and other things. So this is Sunday River land, and they own, like, I'm not really quite sure. I think it's somewhere around 30,000 acres. But anyways, we're not gonna get, we don't have to worry about that here. And processors are way better. Tree length crews and chipping crews, you know, all this stuff that, you know, I'm running over and putting in the trail, they would probably chip, and they'd be more likely to capture more of that stuff as they're cutting the merchantable timber. So it's a lot easier to get a clear cut that way. I don't want to cut chipwood, so, you know, I don't. But anyways, I'm going to shut this off. This video is going to be long enough as it is. So I've got my new, it's like a headlamp band for the GoPro. That's why I'm trying that out today. I just got it yesterday, so it's a little easier. And anyways, like, subscribe if you have any questions. I'd be interested to hear them, and please come back and watch the whole video, and I'll do some more. Like you see here, I don't know if you can see that, but there's the skylight. If I could cut popple like this all the time, production would be great. Wood like that's great processor wood. It's just the right size, and it's easy to handle. It's about 10-inch tree, but I think that's already been had here. So anyways, we will catch you later. Sign